All right, we are live. Pardon me. And we are live here in Rockport, Texas, in the garden, my home. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pigskin Mafia podcast. I'm your host, TJ Riddell. And let me tell you guys something. We're doing the recap for the bowl games, week number 2, which consists of the games that were played during Christmas break. So post Christmas Day was December 26th through last night or yesterday. So we'll go over those bowl games, and then we'll go over 4 NFL games. Kind of just breeze that out of the water. I forgot to put that in the description and also the title. We'll have a deep dive on Arizona State calling out Texas, and then have a deep dive on what's going on in the NFC North. Huge implications this coming up week. Not making any predictions yet, but just kind of breaking down how I feel about the Vikings and the Lions battling it out for the number 1 spot in the NFC. And also, the loser would be the 5th seed with 14 wins, which is, it's pretty fucking insane when you think about it in the NFL. Stop. Bill. Stop. Lay down over there. Thank you. You're welcome. Anyways, we got a loaded lineup today, folks. We're going to be talking about bowl games. We're going to be talking about what the Arizona State Sun Devils are saying about Texas as of late, and putting up bulletin board material. And then we're going to talk about the NFL side of things, where we're going to talk about the Vikings and Lions battle for the best spot in the NFC and winning the NFC North. This is a epic battle. I'm excited to talk about that. First time I've been excited to talk about NFL all season, to be honest, because it's 2 unlikely teams. Well, the Lions, they're not unlikely, but you love to see it. But the Vikings, before the season, I would have said there ain't no shot they would be even close after losing Kirk Cousins. But, man, they look good right now. They might be the best team in the NFL right now. But we're going to go ahead and kind of just talk about the games real quick. We're going to start off with the NFL games that happened. Let's talk about the Saturday games between the Broncos and the Bengals in Cincinnati. The Bengals are still alive in the playoff hunt, and the Broncos are holding on by a thread. I'm genuinely concerned about the Broncos as of late. They haven't looked like their normal self that we saw mid-season, and I'm just really... That's funny. That's funny. But anyway, leave a like, hit that notification bell, hit the subscribe button. We need 7 more subscribers in order to get to 100 subscribers before the end of the year. This is the last day to hit our goal. And what's up, everybody in the chat, by the way? Miss you too, Banda TV. Miss you too. FJ. And Karen Coffee. I appreciate the comment on there. Little Trey, what's up? All right, so the Broncos and the Bengals. This game was back and forth. The Broncos kind of have been stagnant over the last couple games. I don't know, but Joe Burrow might might resurrect the. Thank you for subscribing, Karn Coffee. Might resurrect the Bengals' playoff chances, which is insane to think about because they're right now 8-8 right now from what I've seen, and also the Dolphins are 8-8, which I don't think they're going to make it. The Broncos have the Chiefs next week, so that'll be interesting. And I'm really excited to see what the Bengals can do and what the Broncos can do. Realistically, I'm not sold on the Dolphins at all. I don't think they're a good team at all. I think they're absolute poo-poo. So next game, we're going to talk about the Cardinals and the Rams. I know the Cardinals, they were already out of the playoff, but the Rams are kind of hitting their stride as of late, and it was a lot closer and lower scoring than I thought it would be. Rams win it 13-9. I mean, Rams win the division, but man, such a shitty game. Then we move on to the Sunday games. Probably the best games right here, in my opinion. Starting off with the Packers and Vikings. I had the Packers winning this matchup. I thought the Vikings were due for a loss, but man, Sam Darnold and the Vikings controlled the pace of this game. They really controlled the line of scrimmage and gave Jordan Love a lot of fits and troubles. He didn't throw any interceptions in that game, but just a lot of confusion on that side of the ball for the Packers. And man, I'm telling you, Vikings look legit. Now I'm saying that they look legit, especially with the way Sam Darnold played against the Packers. So good on Sam Darnold, man. If he's not comeback player of the year, I don't know who is. But last game we're going to talk about for the NFL side of things, Falcons at Commanders. Falcons have really hit. I don't know what happened just now. I guess somebody tried to call me. And you're going to be in timeout for 24 hours. Thank you. All right, so yeah, the Falcons have really hit a slump over the last few weeks, and the Commanders really hit their stride after that Eagles win. And this turned out to be a really good game. I had the Commanders winning 27-13, but it was a lot better. I can give you a hint. They suck, Jacob. They are the epitome of mediocrity. That's who my favorite NFL team is. If you could guess that right, then no. For 28 years, they have been mediocre and haven't reached the Super Bowl since the 90s, since I was born. I was born the day after their last Super Bowl, so. Yes, Jacob, the Cowboys. Yeah, they are a major disappointment. They are what my middle child would be. A major disappointment. I'm just kidding. I hope this video doesn't resurface and I have a middle child at some point and they go, Dad. But I'm a 28-year-old Cowboys fan. It's been 28 years since the Cowboys won their last Super Bowl. But anyway, Commanders get a big win here. I'm ready to see them be called the Redskins once again. I like Jaden Daniels. I really do. He's really come into his own as an NFL quarterback. I really didn't necessarily think he would really fit that role over there for Dan Quinn and the and the Commanders, but man, he's really done a good job. And for the 2025 Super Bowl right now, Jacob, and this is gonna be the last question I answer before the or for now, and then I'll answer questions after the show or after we get through our topics. Right now, I still have the Chiefs and the Lions in the Super Bowl. I have the Chiefs and the Lions in the Super Bowl. I think the Lions are playing their best football as of late. Uh, it's not my prediction that they'll beat the Vikings or anything this week or this coming up week, but we'll see what happens. Which I'll be posting a live stream Thursday. I'll do it Thursday for my predictions for bowl week number 3, the semifinals, or no, not the semifinals for college football, but for week 18 NFL and bowl week 2. No, I hear you, Jacob. I hear you, but here's the problem. Who can actually stop the Chiefs, especially when they're just hitting their stride and they've only lost one game? I get it, they lost to the Bills, but it's hard to beat a team twice, especially in the NFL level. But anyway, we're gonna move on from this, from these games right here. I'm done with the NFL recap. But I will talk about the Vikings and Lions real quick before we move on to college football. Man, this is going to be an interesting matchup between two NFC North teams that really are overshadowed by the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers over the last however many years they've been. But has he beaten the Chiefs in the playoffs is my question. That answer would be no. This Vikings and Lions game really reminds me of a conference championship game. Why does my live keep blacking out for some reason? I don't understand it. It's because people are calling me. I don't understand it at all. But anyway, I like the Lions and I love the Vikings right now. Like they're both hitting their stride. One thing I did see out of the Lions yesterday is they don't give a damn if it's a meaningless game. They're going to play all their players. It's just the nitty gritty type of football team that they are, you know. And you love to see it as a football fan that loves old school football like myself. I love to see what Dan Campbell has done for Detroit. He really turned that into a hard work, blue collar type of football team. Kind of reminds you of like the old school Pittsburgh Steelers, Green Bay Packers back in the day with Bart Starr, and you could throw in Brett Favre. I'm really interested to see how these two defenses really yeah, I could see it, but I'm really interested to see how these two defenses matches up against both offenses. I really do think that this is going to be a fantastic matchup. I think it's going to be the NFL game of the year, honestly, because for one, there's implications of number 1 seed. 2, I'll get to that here in a minute, Jacob. So hold that question right there. 2, you're battling for a NFC North championship that a lot of people didn't think that it was possible for, let's keep it real, either one of these two teams to even reach this season. Like, people thought that the Packers were going to be a lot better this season. Jacob, I'm sure you've heard it a lot, that the Packers were going to be a lot better. I'm one of those people that said the Packers would be a lot better this season. Nobody thought that the Vikings were going to be that great. They thought that Sam Darnold was going to be Sam Darnold and not what we see today, and I'm really impressed with both teams. I really am. I'm just excited to see what happens. That's for damn sure. And about Jordan Love, I like Jordan Love, but there's certain tendencies that I kind of question. It's not bad tendencies. It's just one of those ordeals where it's a growing pain for Jordan Love to deal with, and he's just got to find a way to grow throughout his tenure with the Packers or in his NFL career. I mean, quarterback play is at an all-time low as of right now in the NFL because nobody's really teaching these guys anything on progression, really. The only quarterbacks I really do see do a fantastic job of progression is, well, Sam Darnold. Jordan Love does a decent job at progression. Joe Burrow. And it's funny that you asked that right there. How do you feel about 2020 draft Jordan Love? When I first saw Jordan Love get drafted, I was thinking, what in the fuck is Gutekunst thinking? What are the Packers thinking? It was one of those ordeals like, you have Aaron Rodgers, who's a first ballot Hall of Famer, contrary to people's beliefs. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, regardless of how anybody feels about him. And you just think to yourself, like, maybe the Packers are on to something, but I don't think it'll end up the way they want it to be. And Jordan Love's kind of proved me wrong, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know if Jordan Love can handle being the face of the franchise for the Green Bay Packers. Y'all's fan base is brutal whenever y'all start losing. So, brain like if Aaron Rodgers is gone, Jordan Love could be our, yeah. Like that's a no-brainer, but I thought that at the time there were better options for the Packers to get a better backup. But then again, you look at the situation with Alex Smith and Pat Mahomes, regardless on how you feel about Patrick Mahomes, he is successful. But the success that he has brought is nothing short of what Alex Smith has given him. Same thing goes for Jordan Love. He is pretty successful right now. A playoff-bound QB right now. But it doesn't go unnoticed that Aaron Rodgers did teach him on how to play quarterback in the league. So we're going to go ahead and move on. That's enough NFL talk until the end of the show. And I agree with that last statement. But we're going to go ahead and talk about college football bowl games, okay? From December 26th to December 30th. First of all, got to give 3 claps to J-Mo. He had a hell of a stretch of good picks with these bowl games right here. I mean, it was really impressive to see how well he picked these games. I'm very proud of him. JMO, if you're watching, I'm very proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing, and I can't wait to see you back before the national championship game. Uh, so let's go ahead and talk about these first three games here for Thursday, December 26th. You got Pittsburgh Panthers taking on the Toledo Rockets in the Game Above Bowl. I had Toledo winning. Uh, he was average. He played in the Mountain West Conference. I mean, but he did have a lot of coordinator changes, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword when you talk about Jordan Love in college. But all right, let's talk about bowl games now. Enough with the Jordan Love talk. Enough with NFL talk. We're talking about bowl games strictly. All right, so Toledo versus Pitt. I had Toledo winning, and JMO actually had Pitt winning this matchup. So it wasn't a good start for JMO. But Toledo ended up winning 48-46 in 6 overtimes. I actually caught the last bit of it on the last podcast that I did for the prediction show. It was a very interesting scene of events. But they gotta get rid of the 2-point conversion shit. It's ridiculous. But Toledo wins, and we're gonna move on to Kansas State taking on Rutgers in the Rate Bowl. So in the Rate Bowl, me and JMO both picked Kansas State to win. Kansas State ended up winning 44-41. Actually, Rutgers was up 41-27 at one point, and then Kansas State came back, ended up winning that matchup, and it was a good win for Kansas State, and an ugly, ugly drop by Rutgers. They had that game in the bag, and they blew it. They blew that fucking game. But moving on to the 68 Ventures Bowl between Arkansas State and Bowling Green, a matchup between Sunbelt Conference and MAC. So I had Bowling Green winning this one, whereas JMO actually had Arkansas State winning. And Arkansas State won 38-31 in a pretty back and forth matchup. I think Arkansas State had more control of the game than anything in that matchup. So it was a good win for Arkansas State. Now moving on to Friday. Tune into the draft special for that. We're not going to talk about that just yet. We're talking about bowl games right now, Jacob. So hold your horses there. Friday, December 27th, I was actually in Houston when I was watching the Oklahoma and Navy game, and Oklahoma jumped out to a 14-0 lead, and my lovely father, decided to text me. He goes, "Oklahoma's whooping that ass." Yes, I'm from Texas. And I said, it's only the first quarter. Sure enough, what do I know? Navy and Blake Horvath. Oh my God, that kid's unbelievable. They jump out to a 21-14 lead. Oklahoma scores again and then tries to convert a 2-point conversion, fails. And Navy beats Oklahoma 21-20 in the Armed Forces Bowl. Me and JMO had Navy because we are former sailors, we're veterans. But I hate Oklahoma out of pure respect, because I'm a Longhorn fan. But I had Navy because of the way they played against Army. And I knew for a fact that there was a lot of guys in the transfer portal and a lot of coaches that left Oklahoma to go to different jobs or got fired. Just a lot of plug and replace for Oklahoma, which this offseason is going to tell a lot about how Oklahoma can bounce back as they went 6-7. I think this is the first losing season that they've had like under 500 since Bob Stoops' first year at Oklahoma. But moving on to the Birmingham Bowl, where Georgia Tech takes on Vanderbilt. Pretty decent game, you know. I thought Vanderbilt had control of the game. I actually had Georgia Tech winning this matchup, but JMO actually believes in Diego Pavia and the Commodores, which good on him. Vanderbilt wins 35-27. Telling you guys, JMO's picking up on these picks, man. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of JMO. Next in the Liberty Bowl, Texas Tech taking on Arkansas. My dumbass decided to pick Texas Tech because I thought Arkansas was not as great as people thought they were. And I thought Texas Tech was a lot better than what people thought, which Arkansas really took it to Texas Tech and beat Texas Tech 39-26. I was really impressed with the way Sam Pittman's Arkansas really played in that matchup. And I guess I should have learned my lesson because of the simple fact that Arkansas fought hard against Texas, but I don't know. You never know what you get out of Arkansas, really, but good win for the Razorbacks. And then number 21, Syracuse taking on Washington State in the Holiday Bowl. This one was fairly easy to me. I had Syracuse winning. JMO had Syracuse winning. And Syracuse ended up winning 52-35 in a dominant fashion. I thought Kyle McCord looked fantastic in that matchup, so good win for the Syracuse Orange. Now, the last one before Saturday's games. The USC Trojans, 6-6, taking on the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies, who are 8-4, and they played in the Las Vegas Bowl this past Friday. Me and JMO had USC, and me and him called it. We called it in two different ways. JMO said that USC would win, and it would be a Texas A&M heartbreak. I said Texas A&M will find a way to lose this game. And what happened? They were up 24-7, I believe. And then USC marched right back in, took the lead 28-24. Then A&M took the lead again, 31-28. And then USC scored a last-second touchdown with 6 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter. Ended up beating Texas A&M. What an ironic twist that USC did that. And it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. So hold your horses, Jacob. USC beat LSU the same scenario in the first week of the season in Vegas. Ended up beating Texas A&M in the same scenario in the same place. Wow, just a very impressive display of how they won both those games. I'll get to your questions after I get done with the college bowl games, and then I got to talk about Arizona State and Texas, so bear with me, Jacob. But it was a good win for USC, a tough loss for A&M. As I call it again, A&M will always be A&M. Aggie gonna Aggie. They will always find a way to lose important games. Now moving on to Saturday. In the Fenway Bowl, we got UConn taking on UNC. Now, J-Mo's reason for this, he had UNC winning. He thought that Bill Belichick was going to be some form or fashion going to be a part of that game, not to coach, but to have like a motivational factor for UNC. To me, I looked at it as they lost too many guys already. They don't have a coaching staff basically. It's just a bunch of fill-ins, and then you got UConn on the other side, Jim Mora, who's actually got a well-coached team. UConn's very underrated, and they look good. And they mollywop UNC 27-14, where they give them a trash. They give them trash points at the end of the game. I mean, garbage time points. I mean, it's just one of those ordeals that I was like, it doesn't matter what logo you have. It's the same way with OU against Navy. If you lose too many on your roster and coaching staff, you're not going to win that. It's a meaningless bowl game, so. Pinstripe Bowl, Nebraska taking on Boston College. Now, I had Nebraska winning, and J-Mo had Boston College. This was fairly even, in my opinion. I thought this was a coin toss type of game. I had Nebraska winning, and Nebraska ended up winning 20-15. But Dylan Raiola, you gotta stop being cringe, brother. You went 7-6. Stop running around Yankee Stadium and doing this hoopty-law bullshit after a cheesy-ass win over a cheesy-ass Boston College team. Let's get real, man. TCU taking on Louisiana in the New Mexico Bowl. And let me tell you, TCU came out with a statement. Even though it's a bowl game, I think this was a statement win for TCU and Sonny Dykes. I think it's to show that TCU is going to be a legitimate threat in the Big 12 next season. As watered down as that conference is, they are going to be a legitimate threat for that Big 12 championship race. So watch out for TCU next year. And me and J-Mo both picked TCU. So the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Everybody loves this bowl game. I love this bowl game. Miami taking on Iowa State. Now, so here's the deal with what happened in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Miami lost to Iowa State. Me and J-Mo had the U. But Cam Ward didn't play in the second half. He broke his record in the first quarter, played the second quarter, then sat out the rest of the game and let the backup play. If you're a true competitor, wouldn't you want to win that game and to prove the Heisman voters wrong and to prove the College Football Playoff Committee wrong? Because Miami's that fan base that claims victimhood on not getting into the College Football Playoff. You know, and I'm sorry, but that was just a bitch-made move by Cam Ward, in my opinion. I don't think he should have sat out in the second half. It's either you play or you don't play. And these NIL collectives need to establish an agreement with these players that you're going to play the regular season, and if we make it to a bowl game, you need to play the bowl game. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I feel like that That's what needs to be established for college football. And the transfer portal needs to be tightened down to just one window after the spring games. And that helps with the restriction for the amount of transfers going into the transfer portal. You're actually going to condense it more than anything. And that's what college football needs to do, is to condense the transfer portal. I feel like it goes through all sports like that. So, good win for the Cyclones, though. They got to eat a giant Pop-Tart after their win, and they get to keep a toaster trophy. How cool is that? So, next game we're going to talk about Jay Norvell's shitty fucking Colorado State Rams. I picked Colorado State to win this game, but they played against the Miami of Ohio Redhawks, who JMO picked. And Miami of Ohio completely desecrated all over Colorado State. It was not even close. 43-17. Jay Norvell is a fucking moron and is a wannabe Deion Sanders. There, I said it. I'm sorry, folks. I keep getting fucking calls, and I don't know why it keeps blacking out like that. I have it on Do Not Disturb mode. Actually, let me try something real quick. Fuck it. Oh well. ECU taking on NC State in the Military Bowl. Now, these two programs always meet up in the bowl games or regular season games. And it looks like that every time NC State plays ECU, East Carolina, they always lose these guys. I don't understand it. And that's what happened. Me and JMO both picked East Carolina to win this game. And sure enough, East Carolina won 26-21. Things got a little heated at the end. That's football for you in the Carolinas. 2 more games, and then we're done with college football for the games. The Alamo Bowl, BYU, number 17, taking on number 23, Colorado. Now, this was the last time we were going to see Shedeur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, and Travis Hunter in a Colorado uniform, and they will be playing in the league next year. I don't know about Shiloh because he's really not that great of a safety. His footing's off. He can't properly do a form tackle. It's embarrassing to watch. But I had Colorado winning this game because I thought that Colorado's offense was going to be unbelievable against this BYU team that has really struggled over the last few weeks when they played. And JMO thought different. He had BYU winning because he thought the physicality of BYU was going to get to them. And after I made my prediction, I was starting to think, man, I don't know. Maybe BYU has that physicality in them to where they can compete with Colorado. But I still thought Colorado was going to win because they were on a hot streak. But despite what y'all think about Colorado and all that, I thought they had a really good season. I thought BYU had a really good season in the Big 12. And they had a statement win over Colorado. 36-14 over the Buffs. I mean, they flat out dominated Colorado in that game. And if I'm Colorado fans, I don't hold my head down, but I'm worried about replacing Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. I know you're getting Caden Salter. I know you're getting Julian Lewis. I mean, it's really tough to talk about, honestly, because we don't even know if Coach Prime or Coach Sanders is going to be back in Colorado. We don't know that yet, but I'm optimistic to the thought that he will be back at Colorado. I genuinely think that he wants to build men out of these kids in Boulder. I think he loves Boulder. I think he fits in pretty well with Boulder. And who would not love Miss Peggy? She's a sweetheart. And I think that Colorado fans have something to look forward to in the off season this season. And man, good on Colorado this season. J-Mo might say fuck Colorado, but I'm kind of like in the middle of it, But for BYU, Solani Sataki, another team with another statement win that's going to be a dangerous team in the. I love Retzloff, man. That might be the best quarterback out of the Big 12 right there. Retzloff, I was really impressed with him last season. I'm really impressed with him this season. Retzloff, the Jewish Mormon, killed Colorado's defense and absolutely put the hammer to that fucking Colorado defense. Jesus Christ. But Coach JB also brought up a really good point too. In every big game that Colorado or Coach Prime or Coach Sanders or whatever you want to call him has coached, he has been outmastered and outclassed. Like, for example, when he was over at Jackson State for the Celebration Bowl, I think that's what it was called, he's 0-2 in that. And then playing against BYU in the Alamo Bowl, has not won a bowl game. I know it's only 2 seasons at Colorado, and they're getting the pieces together, but you also have coaches that left too. So if I'm Coach Sanders, I'm going to put my full investment into this team and not try to be a marketing tool. I'm going to try to be a real coach and to prove to everybody that I am a competitive coach, that I can outcoach anybody. I'm not going to sit here and bash Colorado. I did it once and they turned it around. So, I'm not going to sit here and say that Colorado's shitty and all this other shit like that. That it's too cliche. It's bullshit. What I will say is that they still have a lot of work to do if they want to get to where they need to be. And that starts off with this offseason. So, good win for BYU, though. Kalani Sitake, I love Kalani Sitake. He's a hell of a coach. Brigham Young University is a force to be reckoned with in the Big 12. I'm really surprised that their season ended out the way they did. I hope that they get to play in the Big 12 championship next season. We'll see what happens. I think they might be one of my favorites going into next season. Last game we're going to talk, or 2 more games. I'm sorry, 2 more games. We got Army taking on Louisiana Tech, who is 5-7, which we already know who is going to win this game. Me and J-Mo already picked Army, and Army won 27-6. But the story wasn't that in the Independence Bowl. What the story was that Marshall's head coach didn't get the deal. I think he didn't get the deal what he wanted, so he went to a different school in the Sun Belt, which is the Southern Miss Eagles. And then 30 guys out of Marshall, and this was the original opponent for Army in the Independence Bowl. Marshall had 30 transfers in one fucking day because the coach went off to Southern Miss, and it was like an internal negotiation problem, I guess. And Marshall opted out of the bowl. So who filled it in? Louisiana Tech. So Louisiana Tech filled it in. They got their ass whipped by a service academy. Good on you for stepping up, but you got your ass whipped. So, good win for Army. And Daly is just a hell of a competitor, which I think he broke the record for most rushing touchdowns in a single season by a quarterback, which in that offense, I could believe it. Good win for the Knights, or for the Cadets, I mean. Last game we're going to talk about, Iowa taking on number 19, Missouri. Now, this is the Music City Bowl. This was a back and forth fight between a Big Ten and an SEC school. Now, I will say this on record. I've never said that Missouri was going to be a very good team that was going to compete for the SEC championship, but I thought they were a good team. Iowa, I thought they were an average team. And this season has really proved me right with these two. And realistically, Missouri's an average team, but they find ways to win. So what does that make them? They make them a good team. So you have an average team facing off against a good team, which this was a great game, by the way. It was a slobber knocker, as good old JR would say. Missouri ended up winning 27-24. I picked Missouri. JMO had Iowa. And Iowa started off great. It was just the fact that Missouri always finds a way to win against average teams. Okay? Realistically, Missouri's not that great of a football team. They just find ways to win average games. So, now they are 10-3, a mediocre 10-3. And everybody's going to be looking at them as a competitor in the SEC championship title race for next season. So, good win for Missouri. But I still have my doubts about you. And that concludes the recap of those games. Now we're going to talk about the main event. Arizona State and Texas, the college football playoff quarterfinal matchup in the Peach Bowl in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm a Longhorn fan, so I'm going to have a lot of input on this. So, it started off with this one lineman. I can't fucking remember his name. And this happened before the game was actually decided between Clemson and Texas, that he was excited to play Texas, that they turned him away and they said that he couldn't play there. So he was like, I'm excited for the opportunity and I can't wait to show them that I can play. Okay, that's fine. And then we get to the week of the game where you have these teams go through their pressers, their interview pressers, you know. And Sam Levitt, the young freshman redshirt, they ask him, how does he feel about playing against Quinn Ewers? He goes, obviously I'm excited. I've been doubted all my life, and I'm going to prove why I'm the better quarterback on the field. Okay. Nothing wrong was said there, right? right? So then Cam Scatabo goes there, and this is where things get ridiculous. And this is why I think Arizona State's calling out Texas in the sense. Cam Scatabo goes, for 13 games, nobody's been able to stop me. I have been a target in 13 games, and nobody can figure out how to stop me. Well, Cam Scatabo, I think you're a phenomenal running back. I really do. But what I have here is receipts. And before I get into those receipts, this is bulletin board material, Arizona State. You're adding fuel to the fire. Now, I don't know if they're intentionally trying to piss off Texas, but the last team that I remember this happening to was Iowa State back last year. They had a lineman that was running his fucking mouth. I can't even remember his name. He was number 54 for Iowa State, but some fucking nobody. And was like, we're about to be 4-0 against Texas. They haven't beaten us since I've been here. I've always hated Texas and OU. That's what he said. Well, what happened last year, Iowa State got their asses whipped at home. Okay, so then there's an unstoppable running back in Oklahoma State named by the name of Ollie Gordon last season. Had a hell of a season, and was up for the Doak Walker, right? Everybody was questioning how could Texas stop Ollie Gordon. 34 yards later in that game, that's how they stopped him. They stopped him by only allowing 34 yards rushing in that game for Ollie Gordon. Frustrated the hell out of him. Exposed him for the first time that anybody's seen Ollie Gordon. So, if I'm Sam Levitt and I'm Cam Scatabo, I watch what I say and how I say it. It's really not what you say, it's how you say it. And let me explain. They may have not came off, or they may have not tried to be disrespectful, but it sounds like they're trying to throw shade. So, I have provided some stats from Cam Scatabo. Week 1, where Arizona State played against a 3-9 Wyoming team. 3-9 Wyoming, by the way. And Arizona State won 48-7 in this ball game. Cam Scatabo had 11 carries, 49 yards, averaged 4.5 yards. That's pretty decent. But 49 yards against a shitty Wyoming team? Come on now. 1 touchdown, 1 reception, 17 yards. Okay. Then week 3, we jumped to Texas State, where I almost got this game right. I had Texas State winning this game, 35-31. The final score was 31-28. Arizona State winning this game. Now, what did Cam Scatabo do in this game? 24 carries, 62 rushing yards, 2.6 yards average. He did get 2 touchdowns, but they were short yardage touchdowns. And 3 receptions, 21 yards, and he fumbled the ball. But it was recovered by Arizona State. Then we jumped to week 4 against Texas Tech, where they lost their first game of the season against the Red Raiders, who were 8-5 at the end of the season, who lost their fucking ass to Arkansas. 18 carries, 60 yards. Actually, let me see that again. Yeah, 60 yards. 3.3 yards average, 2 touchdowns. short yardage, by the way, no more than 10 yards. Now, he did have 6 receptions and 117 yards, but it wasn't enough to beat Texas Tech. Week 8, Cincinnati. They lost 24-14. This is a 5-7 Cincinnati team. 17 carries, 75 yards, 4.4 yards average, 2 touchdowns, 4 receptions, 33 yards, 1 fumble lost, and was recovered by Cincinnati. And then they played against Kansas State, who has a 9-4 record, probably the best team that they played against, and this was their best win, I think, out of all these games that I'm mentioning. This is week 11, by the way. Kansas State, 25 carries, 73 yards, 2.9 yards average, 0 touchdowns, 4 receptions, 44 yards. There's 5 games that told me otherwise, Cam Scatterbo. And it was against a 3-9 Wyoming, a 7-5 Texas State, an 8-5 Texas Tech, a 5-7 Cincinnati, and a 9-4 Kansas State. Let's keep it honest. Who has Arizona State really played? I get it. They're a really gritty team. They are fun to watch if you're into the Big 12, like myself. And even a Big 12 fan of my distinction has to put out the obvious, that the Big 12 this season has been garbage, has been watered down. And Texas proved it last year, how watered down the product was last season. The one good team that they played against didn't even make it to the Big 12 championship. So, if I'm Arizona State, I keep my fucking mouth closed for the next 48 hours or so, because they're about to play a Texas team that has taken your words and put it up on a fucking bulletin board. I already made my prediction that Texas was going to win this game. Now, you have really woken up a sleeping giant that is going to be pissed off. And if I'm Cam Scatterbo, I figure out a game plan on how to run against this defense. You're going against the number 1 team in the country, or number 1 defense in the country, if we're being honest. Probably has the most turnovers in the SEC. And you can say what you want about the SEC being overrated this season. I do not care. Because I think all conferences this season have been overrated. There's only a few selected good teams out of the Big Ten, out of the SEC, that I have been saying all year that have been great. But Arizona State better keep their mouths shut if they want to win this game. And they better have the ability to walk the walk. They can talk that talk all they want. But as a former football player myself, there have been multiple times where there's been bulletin board material for us as players. Now, I didn't get to play on the college level or the NFL level. No, I never reached that level. I was not that good of a corner to be even graced on that level of competition. But, however, bulletin board material makes you want to play more. And this is going to sound ridiculous, okay? But I remember when I was a kid, it was my 3rd year playing youth football. My parents had the dastardly and disgusting idea, which is brilliant, that they would post a big old banner on the old field house, on the junior high field house where I used to live. And it had all of the players' numbers saying what they were going to do to that player. And we all looked at it. We wanted to tear that son of a bitch. We went to practice. It was intense. And then we get to Saturday, where we grew up playing playing with these guys on the same team at one point or two occasions, and we met up in the playoffs. This was to go to the championship. Okay? What up, Hunter? So, they're all trying to be, hey, what's up, man? I'm so excited. We were not talking to them unless we were talking trash. And I remember looking at their quarterback. He was trying to dab me up, and I was like, I'm going to fucking kick your ass today. And nobody knew what happened. Except for the players, except for the coaches, and the fans almost rioted that game. I mean, we whipped their ass, and they're a bigger school than us, and we whipped their ass 32-6. So that was a bulletin board moment that I remember specifically. There's another one where we were hearing about it on Twitter, and I think I was on varsity at this time too. Like, they were talking shit over Twitter or whatnot, and we ended up whooping their ass. It was not even close. But yeah, so yeah, Arizona State. I keep my fucking mouth closed and focus on the game and not focus on the media, because the media is your worst enemy. Like, I could tell by Quinn Ewers' expression that he wants to fucking murder Arizona State. It's that competitive edge that a lot of us guys have. It don't matter if we're playing poker. It doesn't matter if we're playing beer pong. It doesn't matter what it is. There's been multiple bulletin board material moments in my life where I've proven somebody wrong. There's been multiple times where I flat out embarrassed people by making them look like fucking idiots with that bulletin board material. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those ordeals that I hope Arizona State's ready. I really do think so. I don't think so. I hope they're ready. Because if they're not, they're going to get fucking creamed. And it's not going to be pretty. And the thing is, I actually like Arizona State. I love Arizona State. I would love to have Kenny Dillingham on the show. That's how much I appreciate what he's done for Arizona State. But you can't have your players say the wrong things to the media. It may not be the wrong intention, but it's the way you say it. Okay? So, that concludes the show. It has been an hour and 3 minutes of my time talking about these topics. It has been fun getting to see a lot of people in the chat. 3 likes already on the video. You can tune in Thursday, January 2nd, post New Year's. And Happy New Year's Eve, folks, by the way. But post New Year's Day, we'll do the recap of the college football playoff quarterfinals and also December 31st games, bowl games out there. And then we'll make our predictions for the semifinals, the Week 18 predictions, and also the last bit of bowl games that we have left. But if you guys haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. Share this to your family. Share this to your friends. Share this to your dogs. Share it to the pigeon that watches your window. I don't care. We're trying to grow this podcast up to where we can start getting people on the show that actually will gain national attraction for this show, so that way people like y'all who are in the chat that have respect for the game and the love for the game can talk on here and chat with us. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys that come on, watch the show. Even you new people that subscribe, that have your takes on certain teams and whatnot, and who you're a fan of. I mean, I want to see more of that. I want to see more fans of the game of football and not some fucking troglodyte trying to talk about some stupid shit, okay? But if you could get us to 100 subscribers by the end of today, we will have a fan appreciation show when JMO gets back. But we have to hit 100 subscribers. So please, share this to your friends. Share this to your family. Share this to your coworkers. Whatever. Share it to the stripper that you always hang out with. I don't care. At the end of the day, we're all fans of football. We love to talk about football. I want this to grow to where we can start going on college game day. Think about that. That would be pretty cool. I would love to go to Neyland or Doak Campbell or Bryant Denny. I would love to go to these stadiums and do a college game day type of style of podcast where we are surrounded by the local fans that go to these games and actually go to the games themselves. But in order to do that, we need to grow on the subscriber count and also viewerships. So I appreciate the effort that y'all want to watch this show, and y'all subscribe to the show and leave likes on this show. So, and also even have your own inputs on here that actually matter. So, thank you guys for watching. This has been real. I appreciate you guys for watching. Tune in Thursday where I will have the predictions for the college football playoff semifinals, the college football bowl games, week 3, or the last bit of bowl games that we do have. Recap some of the bowl games that we have left as well. And also more news that we could possibly talk about. So, thank you guys for watching. It has been fun. Goodbye. Mwah. And good night. Bang. Ta-ta for now.